Are you allowed to do Grinch-themed photo shoots or parties or social media marketing? Let's talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer to find out why you might not want to.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
This time of year, we get a lot of requests for doing Grinch-themed photos and different events for businesses. So as photographers doing mini shoots, or as businesses who want to create Grinch-themed things to put out on their social media, what is the legal perspective on this?
So you got to be very careful with this because essentially you're playing with fire when you're using someone else's intellectual property. And quite fitting that I'm even wearing an IP shirt for that reason. So let's boil it down. Let's understand why, right? The character Grinch is created by Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss's estate essentially owns the copyright to the book series, anything related to the Grinch. And then we also know that there have been many iterations of the Grinch character that have been produced by Universal Studios, whether we're talking about the live action version with Jim Carrey or even an animated version that recently was in movies about 5 or so years ago. All that to say, the Grinch has been a part of this Universal Dr. Seuss universe, if you will. And the only way Universal was able to make a Grinch movie was because they had worked out a license deal with the Dr. Seuss estate to adapt the book into a film version. And obviously, Dr. Seuss, the estate, works with merchandisers, brands, anything else to collaborate and basically make merchandise that is related to the Grinch. So obviously Halloween costumes, since we're around the corner with Halloween, but even, let's say Christmas themed pajamas related to the Grinch, decorations, books, shirts, hats, whatever it is, all of that is something that is licensed. And the reason why is because, again, the copyright and the trademark rights that are associated with the Grinch vest only with Dr. Seuss, the Dr. Seuss estate. All that to say, if you're a business that's going rogue and is just you're just using props for the sake of just using them, or if you, let's say, dub an event a Grinch event, you may not realize that you're subtly using someone else's IP, and all the while you should have been acquiring permission from whoever the entities would be. In this case, if you're using the book-derived version of the Grinch, odds are you're going to have to work with the Dr. Seuss estate more specifically in getting the rights to call your event Dr. Grinch photo shoot, to be able to showcase specific Dr. Grinch-oriented merchandise, if you will, that is essential to the whole essence of what your photo shoot is all about. If you don't do that, that's a problem. And I think a perfect example to kind of serve as an analogy to this is what often happens every single February with the Super Bowl. There are tons of restaurants and tons of brands that have been caught red-handed using the word Super Bowl in advertising related to goods and services that they have, whether that's, let's say, chicken wings that they're selling on a given Sunday, or food services, whatever it is. They have been caught red-handed using the word Super Bowl, and the NFL goes after them very hard, saying the Super Bowl is a trademark that belongs to us. You have to pay up if you want to use it. Otherwise, you have to cease and desist all use of that word. So they find other ways of calling it the Super Bowl. So they'll call it the big game, Sunday's game, the big match, whatever it is. They'll avoid using Super Bowl for that reason. So I would caution any photographers out there that have that same motivation to use the Grinch for any event that they're hosting in the future. Just be mindful that you may not realize that you're subtly infringing on the copyright and trademarks associated with that character.
And of course, if you do get hit with a cease and desist, or you are served some type of email where they're going to be conversing with you about this, the best thing that you can be doing is going to see your lawyer to know exactly what path you need to be taking with this. Ask the questions and make sure, as we've discussed in many of our episodes, that you have all the paperwork that you have ready to go for your lawyer so that they can look things over to decide what next steps you need to take. If you've got questions on this, go ahead and drop those down below. We hope that you are having fun celebrating all the holiday things without infringing on anybody's copyrights. And we want to make sure we're getting your questions answered to help you thrive in this space legally and ethically. So drop those questions down below. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. You can check out my entertainment law podcast called Unseen. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Follow along for more information keeping you legally protected in the entrepreneurial space, and drop those questions down below. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes as we continue to help you navigate your entrepreneurial endeavors to make this your most profitable and stress-free year ever. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.